So yesterday, Venerable Jampa shared about how she worked with her mind throughout the ordination process. And I have to say, she was an inspiration to many of us because the program is challenging not just for her, but also for people who understand Chinese. Yeah, so, Venerable Jampa really kept her mind steady throughout the process. And at the end, the nun guides who are in charge of our group honored her hard work, really, the mental hard work of just keeping your mind steady through this kind of overwhelming 45 days. And, they gave her a gift. And just to say, even if you don't understand the language, as long as you have a very sincere heart and try your best, everyone appreciates that. It has a profound impact on everyone around. Yeah. And from my side, I was very inspired in general just to be around people with a very deep sense of refuge and conviction in karma, which maybe is kind of a moot point if you're around monastics, but you just appreciate that. I was sandwiched between two nuns who were quite playful, kind of boisterous, chatting all the time, and even though we were supposed to be in silence, but anytime they came across a problem, whether it was in their practice or struggling with the classes, they were both not very academically inclined. So once we really got into the teaching, sometimes they were like, really trying to stay awake, or one of them would draw diagrams to try and make sense of what was happening. But anytime difficulties arose, sickness, struggles in class, the solution was to go and bow to the Buddha. No questions asked, no long psychological discussion about my feelings and needs. It was just, I created a cause in the past. This is how we're going to deal with it. Purify the karma, create better causes for the future. And one of them actually started to write the name of the Buddha throughout class and copy out sutras because it was just going over her head. But she said, I'm going to create the cause to understand this one day. So I really appreciated, having that around me. And again and again, that was repeated by our teachers, just to have confidence that bowing to the Buddha is going to create the cause for us to progress along the path. They told us stories about great masters who were completely illiterate, and they just bowed to every single word of a sutra. I'm not quite sure how that works, maybe just to the sound of each word. And they bowed, and eventually they came to understand the sutras. There were also, our Vinaya teacher also said when she was close to getting a PhD, I think, but when she first read the Vinaya text, she said she didn't understand a single word. And people said to her, stop kidding. Yeah, we know that you're really good academically, but she said she just didn't understand. And that was really quite a shock for her. And what she did was to do a very intense purification retreat for, I think, 6 years, every year for a chunk of time, in solitude, doing a lot of bowing, just making aspirations to be able to understand what the precepts were. And she said after about the second year, she started to make some headway through her learning. Yeah. And of course, they also told this story about a great master who, their monastery was running out of food. The storekeeper came and said, there's no more rice, we're done for. And he just told all the students, okay, don't disturb me tonight. And he decided to bow overnight. So he bowed and bowed and bowed and kept making requests to Weituo Pusa, who is a bodhisattva who takes care of spiritual practitioners, to please, help to support their practice. And apparently that night, the wife of the mayor, who is a very devout Buddhist, had a dream of Weituo Pusa, who came and told her, you must send rice to this monastery, send rice, send rice. So she woke up with this dream and she got her assistant to drive her out, and they went and looked around for the monastery, and they arrived. And the master said, who are you? And she said, I had a dream that I should send rice here. And, so that's how it worked out. And this master is still alive, apparently. So, all these stories were told, of course, to help us to generate faith and to have confidence, to tell us again and again, even if we're struggling, to just be confident that our practice will bear fruit. So I came out of the program with this very strong sense of more confidence in my own practice and ability, which I really appreciated. It also made me appreciate how Venerable has set up the Abbey. From day one, just deciding we're going to live in line with the precepts, we're not going to buy food, even if there are no Buddhists in the area. Just that complete confidence that if you practice well, this is going to work out. And it has. We have never gone hungry. Just to have that in mind. And this was an unexpected byproduct, I will say, because starting from a year ago, I already started freaking out about going for the ordination in Taiwan. A large part because I have a lot of resistance to the kind of Asian education system. a lot of public humiliation, yelling at you. Just that kind of structure, rote memorization. I was like, oh no, we're gonna have to do this. And I was just terrified about that. So I was really surprised to be back in that kind of setting and to see that it was really helpful. And I've been trying to work out what the difference is, between the secular education and having it in a monastic setting. And I think in the ordination training, the purpose of the training is to help us to, eventually realize selflessness. Right? The yelling, it helps us to develop fortitude. It's done with a lot of kindness and care. And it was really, the whole training about fitting into a group really helped us to just let go of, our personal opinions. There were no mirrors. After a while, I just forgot what I looked like. It was kind of amazing. And we were given this Chinese name that we don't identify with, right? So it's like, who is this? I don't really know. You just wake up, you have the Dharma in the mind, you follow the group, stand, sit, eat. And you start to get a sense of how the precepts work to form the foundation of ethical conduct leading to concentration and then hopefully wisdom. And that's what Venerable Benyin told us many times, that the precepts are not about grasping at an appearance, like I must do this, but it helps us to remember every day, these robes are not mine, the food is not mine, this body is not mine. And just to have that with us all the time. And to have confidence that just by keeping these precepts, we will progress on the path to full awakening. And I guess as a coda, I wanted to talk about this teaching from Venerable Wu Yin, who is the teacher who taught Venerable children the precepts. And we had a conversation with her after the ordination, just about how do we've learned the precepts in one way, in a very literal way, how do we put them into practice? And she told us the origin story of one of the, quote, minor precepts that she got the nuns to debate when she was teaching the Western nuns the precepts in 1998 in Bodh Gaya. So the origin story is that there was a group of monastics that had set up their own community, and they were very sincere in their practice. They were meditating very seriously and very focused. And everything was going well, except that they were located next to a public park. And then all these people would come and barbecue meat and have fun and make noise. And so these monastics were getting very annoyed. These people are disturbing our practice. So they decided to get their waste, the feces and the urine, and pour it on the grass there, hoping that it would chase the lay people away. So she set this up as a question, like, how would you deal with this today? And she got the Western nuns to debate that. So, and then she never answered that question either. She said, there is no right answer to this. But I thought it was just such a good teaching on what the precepts mean, right? And what our practice really is. Right? We might be here in the monastery trying to do our practice like that, and then, get lost, all you sentient beings. And then we're always in relation. We have this ideal of how we're going to do it, and then here we are, always in relationship with other sentient beings, trying to figure it out. And there is no one answer. So I just appreciated that very much, hearing her perspective on that, and that she just left it open, trying to, even though we were there struggling, hoping the teacher would tell us, is there a right way to keep the precept? That's what she left us with, and it's up to us to figure it out in our own communities and as we keep practicing the Dharma.